Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, August 10, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons during the path of these tropical systems so we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the that's been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future other than your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that they've just issued this at 7:23 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:23 p.m. Jamaica time. And they've also increased the chances of this system developing into a tropical depression or tropical storm. Earlier today it was 70% if not 80%. Now it's at 90%. According to the Hurricane Center, shower and thunderstorm activity is showing some signs of organization in association with a tropical wave located roughly midway between the Cabo Verde Islands and the Lesser Antilles. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of the system during the next few days, while it moves westward to west-northwestward at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the central tropical Atlantic. A tropical depression is likely to form by the early to middle part of next week, while the system approaches and then moves near or over the Lesser Antilles. An interest there should monitor the progress of the system. Then the system is forecast to move generally west-northwestward and could approach portions of the Greater Antilles by the middle to latter part of next week. And we see that they've given this system a 50% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days when calculated, and a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we can see the system right here, equidistant from Africa and the Caribbean. Africa right here, the Eastern Caribbean right here. It's definitely trying to get its act together. It even has that look to it already with the high cold cloud tops spreading out. And we know the center of the system would definitely be somewhere in here. And it's definitely pushing westward right now. Then it should make that west-northwest turn, which it's going to be interesting to see what it actually does. Whether it rakes over the Leeward Islands or misses us in general, or if it takes that track like what the GFS has been showing south of Puerto Rico into Hispaniola. Or could it be something more west than that? It's just a waiting game to see exactly what unfolds. Either way, the supercomputer models in terms of the spaghetti tracks are in consensus for the most part that it's gonna be going over the Leeward Islands and then making a more northward turn for the most part. And as it relates to the intensity, we can see that most of the models definitely has it up to tropical storm status in the green by the next 48 hours. That's the next 2 days. So about Tuesday for sure, if not Monday evening, the system should have already made it up to tropical storm status. And we can also see that they have a steady increase that is gonna possibly be making it all the way up to hurricane status even before the end of the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. So it's definitely gonna be getting that name Ernesto. We just hope that it's not bad as predicted, maybe hurricane status or even more than that, and possibly affecting any land. If we take a look at what the two main supercomputer models are showing, we're looking right here at the Euro model, that's the ECMWF, and we're going to be comparing it with what the GFS is showing. So we're going to be looking right here to see exactly what it does. We're looking for the moisture, we're looking for that L, that airflow pressure, and the isobars. And we're just going to be going up to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days, to see exactly what unfolds. So we're going out in time, and we already see the moisture associated with numerous troughs, if not tropical waves, across the Caribbean. It is 12Z on Sunday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Sunday. Lots of moisture already across the Caribbean, setting the stage for what's to come in terms of this depression, if not storm. We see it right here, according to the Euro model, affecting portion of the Leeward Islands for sure. And as we head out in time, passes to the east of Puerto Rico, then heads to the north right there. And then by the end of 168 hours, it should be right here out to sea. It's gonna be interesting to see if that actually happened, because if you remember yesterday's forecast, by the end of 168 hours, it was right there to the north of Hispaniola. So it's definitely something quite different from what we saw a day ago. If we take a look at the GFS, going out in time to see exactly what's gonna be unfolding. Let's see. Yes, we have a lot of moisture across the Caribbean associated with the tropical waves and the numerous troughs, but there's the system coming in. And we see that it's definitely taking a more southward track. This is where it's going to be located by 12Z on Tuesday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Definitely right there across the northern Windward Islands, the southern Leeward Islands right there. And as we head out in time, we're definitely taking that southern track to the south of Puerto Rico, heading into portions of the Dominican Republic right there, and then pushing northwestward into maybe the Turks and Caicos or the southern Bahamas. Either way, we see that it's definitely hell-bent on making that northern turn. So maybe Jamaica and Cuba will definitely be spared the worst. And we see that by the end of 268 hours, it's right there to the far north of the Dominican Republic. The Euro has it way off towards the northeast by that time. So we see some differences with the long range forecast by the next 7 days. Keep in mind that this is valid for Saturday. 18th on Saturday is 1 p.m. on Saturday, according to the GFS. The Euro right here, 12th on Saturday is 7 a.m. We see the differences. The Euro a bit faster than the GFS for sure. And in terms of the strength, well, the Euro has a much larger system right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic. A much smaller system, even weaker right here to the north of Hispaniola. Either way, even if this system is not as bad as expected in terms of the strength, in terms of the winds, it's definitely going to be dumping a lot of rainfall. And we can see all the purples, the pinks, the whitish colors, the grays that represent what, up to 3 to 7, 8 inches of rainfall that's expected across portions of the Leeward Islands. Keep in mind that this map is showing all the accumulated precipitation all the way up until 12Z on Saturday, August 7th. So this is all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 7 a.m. on Saturday, all across the next 7 days. We see some reds across portions of the Caribbean, all the way up to an inch of rainfall for the most part. Nothing that drastic, but we do see where the heaviest rainfall should be associated with that system. The usual heavy rainfall across northern South America and Central America right there. Even the GFS is a bit, in consensus with that rainfall across Central America, Northwestern South America. But look at where the heaviest rainfall associated with that system is. Definitely where it's crossed over across the Eastern Caribbean. Not so much the Leeward Islands, but definitely portions of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds with this system. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. On another note, let us take a look at some expert insights. This is Ben Noel. He's actually a meteorologist at the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research in New Zealand. And from time to time, he makes some accurate posts about the Atlantic hurricane season. I remember a time in May, he made a forecast highlighting some maps about how something was going to form in June. And then we had Beryl for sure. And this is not the first time he's made predictions like this. I remember he made predictions in 2020 and they definitely came through fruition. So he just made this post at about 5:40 p.m. today. He stated, the ECMWF plus UK Med Superblend for September to November 2024 just arrived. It maintains an active outlook across the main development region through the heart of hurricane season and suggests the potential for numerous east-west track systems. And he's talking about this map right here, which is basically a combination of the Euro model and the UK Med model. And we see all the greens represent wetter than average conditions, the reds and the browns represent drier than average conditions. And look at this, the main development region into the Caribbean, Jamaica right here, definitely smack dab in the middle of all of the rainfall that's expected for the time period from September to November 2024. And we know all of this has to do with the numerous tropical waves coming off of Africa. And let's hope and trust that these don't develop into tropical depressions, storms, or even hurricanes. Let's hope that they all remain tropical waves and bring the rain to cool down the temperatures and keep the water flowing in our pipes. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that there's still that ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And with the easterly trade winds, you have numerous tropical waves, one right here across the main development region. That's the same one that the Hurricane Center has highlighted. Another one right here across the central portions of the Caribbean. That's going to be affecting portions of Jamaica on Sunday. And we know a lot of Saharan dust is definitely coming off of the desert right there from east to west, embedded within those tropical waves. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see all of this being represented. The clouds associated with the tropical wave across portions of the eastern to the central Caribbean definitely did a number on portions of the Windward Islands today with a lot of shore and thunderstorm activity. And we see a lot of moisture associated with it already pushing from east to west to the south of Hispaniola. Jamaica definitely going to be getting some of this tomorrow. The usual thunderstorm activity across northern South America, Central America, as well as the Yucatan Peninsula. And we can also see the clouds associated with the tropical wave the Hurricane Center is watching. Another tropical wave right there off the coast of Africa, right there. And we can even see some milky brownish colors associated with the Saharan dust in between all of this. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, August 10. It was stated that portions of some northeastern parishes in Jamaica would have received some morning rainfall, and then some of this rainfall would have affected sections of some central and western parishes during Saturday afternoon. And just for reference, we know northeastern parishes. Well, first of all, we know eastern parishes. We're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Andrew, Kingston, St. Thomas. Northern parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes on top. So Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover. So more than likely, if we're referring to northeastern parishes, it will be somewhere along this side. Maybe incorporating St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland right there. And what ended up happening? We actually had some clouds bring some isolated thunderstorms to portion of some northeastern parishes in Jamaica in the morning at around 6:25 a.m. Even as the day progressed into mid-morning, we still had some rainfall across some northeastern parishes for sure. And remember, it was predicted to also affect sections of some central and western parishes. And we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? Another post was made here on our Twitter page at around 2:35 p.m. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we saw the visible satellite, well, the infrared satellite image that was posted right here at that time, highlighting the thunderstorms. We definitely had those high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, and even the blacks within those reds that represent the deep convection. We definitely had that heavy thunderstorm activity across Negril, sections of Westmoreland, Savannah, Lamar, sections of Hanover, section of St. Elizabeth got in on the mix as well. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down to see exactly what unfolded, Although Western Jamaica got in on the thunderstorm first, we saw that sections of Central Jamaica got in on the afternoon rainfall as well. We saw those clouds starting to bubble up across northern St. Catherine, northwestern St. Andrews, southern St. Anne, southern Trelawney, section of Manchester, and all of this was pushing from east to west. And even if we take a look at the camera here from the Bogwalk Gorge on See Jamaica's YouTube channel, we can see that they did indeed get enough some rainfall. See a car right here with the windshield wipers on. The road a bit wet for sure. They definitely had some rainfall right there across northern St. Catherine near the flat bridge, or across the flat bridge at around 4:37 p.m. to confirm the rainfall that that area had today. By the way, if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with that channel. That channel shows live streams of Crossroads, the corporate area, halfway tree, the city view, and the recently installed Barbican Can, not to mention the Kingston Harbor. So if you'd like to see more of that, just visit their page and subscribe. And even if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall. Definitely across sections of some northern parishes in the morning, northeastern parishes as well as sections of some central and western parishes during the afternoon. We know this map isn't 100% accurate because even the rainfall totals are ridiculous for northwestern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine, but it does indeed paint a picture of where we had the rainfall, and that was where we indeed had most of the rainfall today, central and western portions of the island. Not so much southern Clarendon, Portmore, St. Thomas or Portland, but definitely some northeastern portion of the island, maybe coastal areas of Portland for sure. And if we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite images, first of all, we can see where we had the thunderstorms across western Jamaica at first. Then we had the thunderstorms for central Jamaica to confirm what was predicted, and all of that was pushing towards the west. And if we take a look at the very latest image right here, this is as of 5 minutes past the hour. This is as of 5 minutes past 7. And we can still see some leftover clouds associated with the thunderstorms that portion of central Jamaica received, most of which is just bringing some overcast skies than anything else, as we don't see much of anything on the latest Cuban Doppler radar images to suggest that there's any rainfall taking place. If we take a look at the latest view from the city view of Kingston on See Jamaica's YouTube channel, not much of anything at all. The sun has definitely gone down as of 7:23 p.m. Not much taking place, no rainfall. Definitely had a nice sunset right there. Just some clouds out west. Basically the clouds that we saw just now on the satellite images. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is forecasting 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we can see Jamaica right here, the eastern half of the island in some gray colors, the western half of the island in some yellow colors. And we know that represents average, which is the grays, to slightly above normal temperatures in the yellows. At least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures out west. And we know the average temperatures for the month of August across Jamaica are about the same as July, 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 91 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.7 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. Taking a look here at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on a Sunday, Jamaica is right here embedded in some slight brown colors that represent some Sahara dust. So the skies won't be 100% blue, considering the Saharan dust is in the atmosphere. But we're indeed glad that we're not getting in on that very vigorous plume that we see in those darker shades of browns, touching all the way from Africa across the main development region. Either way, we know all of this is going to be pushing from east to west eventually, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. What we only hope is that by the time it gets to Jamaica, most of it has dwindled down so that we are not really affected by it in terms of the respiratory illnesses that it causes. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, it makes sense that we're still getting on those 0.54 meter wave height to 1 meter wave height across majority of the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico. You can see it all being represented here by the key on the bottom right, and that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all. Weakest winds across the Gulf of Mexico, averaging anywhere from about, let's say, 5 to 10 knots, while the Caribbean anywhere from 15 to 20 knots in the greens. And we can also see that the winds are going to be coming in from the east for the most part. If we take a look at the wind forecast in terms of the close-up of Jamaica, we can see that the winds are definitely going to be coming in from the east for tomorrow. And whatever rainfall comes off of the sea for tomorrow, definitely going to be affecting portions of St. Thomas and Portland first. And then we see all of that air is going to be piling up. We're across sections of some central and western parishes. That's where we're going to be having the least amount of winds. That's where we're going to be having those clouds building and formulating into mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. So get yourselves ready for that afternoon rainfall, central and western parishes again. And let us take a look at the actual rainfall forecast to confirm. So this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both in consensus that by around 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, which is actually 3 a.m. Jamaica time, there's gonna be some amount of rainfall in store right there across especially eastern Jamaica. We see some rainfall right there to the south as well, to the north as well. Definitely going to be some rainfall across more so central and eastern parishes in Jamaica, pushing from east to west across the island. Maybe more so northeastern Jamaica than anything else. That's some early morning rainfall though, so maybe if you're out maybe for a party, you're going to be affected by that if you live in those spots. Then by 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time, we see some spots of blues across the east, especially the waters to the east of Jamaica. Some of this might make it on land across St. Thomas and Portland again, so 9 a.m. Look out for that if you're doing your laundry. Then by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we start to see the usual rainfall building up. And we see more of those blues represent rainfall across central and western parishes in Jamaica. So definitely portions of St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, maybe section of southern St. Anne, southern Trelawney, southern St. James, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester might get in on some of the action as well. And we see that the Euro model is also in consensus with this forecast. If we take a look at the forecast for even the nighttime, we see some consensus too. This is valid for 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, which is actually 10 p.m. Jamaica time, Sunday night. Look at this, the Euro showing some blues represent rainfall across sections of some southern parishes, more so southeastern Jamaica than anything else. The GFS showing the rainfall for northwest and southern Jamaica too, but not so southeastern Jamaica. So we see some kind of differences and some similarities in a way. It's gonna be interesting to see if we actually get that nighttime rainfall. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus that there's gonna be some rainfall somewhere across Jamaica tomorrow. Keep in mind that both of these maps are showing where there's gonna be rainfall from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Not saying that's gonna be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the spots that are gonna be picking up the rainfall. So maybe sections of Kingston, St. Andrew up to 0.72 of an inch of rainfall. Take this forecast with a grain of salt if you don't get rainfall in Kingston or St. Andrew, but definitely for sections of the central and western portion, more so south central and southwestern Jamaica. GFS a bit more widespread and robust with up to 0.53 of an inch of rainfall out west. Either way, we'll take it. We're in the month of August. We shall receive an increase in the amount of rainfall during this month compared to July. Kingston's bar graph right here at the top getting almost 100 millimeters of rainfall. That's almost 4 inches of rainfall. Montego Bay's bar graph right here at the bottom getting almost 5 inches of rainfall. That's almost 125 millimeters of rainfall. You can do the math yourself, considering that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. And you can visit weatherandclimate.com to find out about the yearly rainfall for your specific parish. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we did indeed get some isolated thunderstorm activity across sections of Cuba today, portions of Florida, the eastern United States, section of Central America, Northern South America. Tropical wave definitely did a number on the central to the eastern Caribbean waters today. And if we take a closer look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, if they're going to be loading for me, are they going to be loading? Let's see. Either way, we can take a look right here at the Barbados radar in the meantime. They're definitely getting in on some rainfall as we speak, and they've definitely been getting in on some rainfall today. Look at all of that rainfall coming in with all of the greens. Yellows represent a moderate to heavy rainfall into Barbados associated with the tropical wave. You can also see some rainfall coming into section of Dominica, Martinique, section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Section of Grenada definitely got in on some rainfall today. So too did Trinidad and Tobago. Let us see what's going on the Leeward Islands Doppler radar. We can definitely see some rainfall right now as represented by the green colors in and around the waters of Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. Maybe some isolated shores right there to the southwest of the British, or to the British Virgin Islands, to the northwest of the US Virgin Islands. Maybe some isolated shores right now across portions of eastern Puerto Rico, southwestern Puerto Rico, right there at 7:25 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We also see some rainfall to the north of Puerto Rico right there. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images from today, Puerto Rico definitely got in on some amount of rainfall across central and southwestern Puerto Rico, maybe some moderate to heavy rainfall right there. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall that portion of Cuba had, the one that we just mentioned on the satellite images. Section of Florida got in on some rainfall, northwestern Guatemala, section of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. You can also see that rainfall that section of Colombia had, rainfall to the north of the ABC Islands as well. And as relates to where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, keep in mind that both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing where it's going to be raining within the next 24 hours from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. And we know the greens to the yellows represent some isolated rainfall in the 0.1 of an inch of rainfall to 0.4 of an inch of rainfall range. The oranges up to 0.5 of an inch of rainfall, all the way up to the red up to at least an inch of rainfall. And we're looking for where both supercomputer models are showing rainfall. And we definitely see that both of them are showing rainfall for portions of more so northwestern Cuba, sections of Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, sections of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, sections of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. Even scrolling down southward, we can see some rainfall in store for sections of western and eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, section of Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula still getting on some amount of rainfall, and even some isolated shores for section of the Cayman Islands. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.